But truth be told, God sometimes uses hurt people to condition his people. And there's a biblical record of it. And the fact of the matter that, number one, you have a hurt person by the name of Abraham who was hurt because of his nephew Lot, but God still used him to be a blessing to the people of God. You have another hurt person by the name of Elijah who sat in the backyard of Jezebel, who was pronounced a death sentence over his life by Jezebel, and he ran off and said that, God, I just want to die, just take me away from it all. But then God told him, I need you to get up and eat something because you're getting ready to go back to work. Jeremiah was hurt. He was extremely wounded by God himself, and he sat down in Jeremiah and said, God, I'm not going to speak your name. I quit. I resign. You lied to me for the last time. But he said it was like something that was like fire shut up in my bones, and I just couldn't sit there any longer. And so he had to get up and get back to work. And David was a wounded warrior because after he had slain a husband so that he could take his wife, the Bible said that his friend came to him and told him, hey, listen, God is going to get you back. And there it was, David's firstborn child from that woman dies, but David had to get back to work. And so God sometimes uses wounded warriors in order to condition his people. And here it is, we deal with the olive press, and we deal with the Garden of Gethsemane. And the olive press, there is this huge olive press where they placed all the olives on, but then they would place this heavy wheel on top of it, and they would roll the wheel across the olive and force the oil to come out of the olive. And just when the olive thought that enough was enough, they would roll the wheel again, and then they would extract more oil that comes from the olive. And there it is. The olive says, finally, we're done. Finally, we're done. But then there was a third time that the same wheel rolled across the same olive to try to get more out of it than it got the first time. And here it is, more oil begins to run. And so sometimes God has to put us in this olive press, and he has to wound us. He has to get us hurt so that we can produce some things for him. Even the great gospel preacher, the giant himself, the apostle Paul, says, God, I went to you 3 times and I kept praying for you to remove this thorn. He said, the third time I prayed, that God began to open up and speak to me and said that in your weakness, my strength is made perfect. And so there it is. He said, my grace is sufficient for thee. And so all God does is in our wounded areas is force us to get to a place to where we don't have a choice but to be humble enough to fall down and look back up to him. Like David said, I will forever look up to the hills from what comes my help. My help comes from the Lord. And so if you're a wounded warrior and you've got to get back into the field, first of all, I need to tell you is that you got a partnership in prayer. You've got to be able to go to God and talk to him and tell him about your troubles and your problems and begin to lay your burdens down at the altar. But then you got a partnership with power because you've got to tap into God so that you can have enough power not to retaliate against the flesh, but then tap into the power of God so that you can fight back off the attacks of the enemy that's coming towards you. But then you got a partnership with praise because now you got to give God glory that he brought you out of the fight that the average person would have thrown in the towel. The average person would have lost their mind. The average person would have given up on, but God allowed you to come out of this thing and understanding that he planned this just for you so that he can keep you in the fight. Don't allow the enemy to steal your fight because you brush up against your brother or your sister in church. Understand that it is an attack from the enemy just to stop and slow down the program and the progress of what God has for you. So don't allow the devil to steal your joy. Don't allow him to steal your ministry. Don't allow him to steal your dream. Don't allow him to steal your hope. But partnership with God and allow him to restore everything unto you that you felt like you lost, because the joy of the Lord is your strength.
That's what's up. That's what's up. This is